And we are live. Great. All right. So, welcome to the show. Today I have Marcel Fleisch on the show, and he's the Chief Product Officer at VP Bank. Marcel, welcome.
Thanks a lot, Daniel. Thanks for the invitation. Great pleasure to be here on your podcast. Good morning, all
Yes.
together.
Good morning. Yes. So, maybe you can share a little bit more, a couple of words about yourself. Who is Marcel? And then we'll dive right into the questions that I have.
A pleasure. Yes, Marcel. Who is Marcel? Marcel. Yes, I'm working for um, VP Bank Group for more than 15 years now. Chief Product Officer. Great pleasure, and like to be a little bit entrepreneurial. Have on beside another small invention company. But I think VB Bank fulfills all my profile. So let's deep dive in there a little bit. So I'm responsible there for a cool thing. It's digital assets. It's part of our strategy 2026, where our group executive management and the board decided to do something innovative as well. And it's perfectly suits in this strategy. I think we come back to that later. Yes, but it's a great part, and we achieved already some success, and we're really dealing with to do more. But I think we come back to this.
Cool. Thanks a lot. So let's dive right in. First question I have to is a super, super deep one. so, so on a personal level, if you had to sum up your essence as a human being in one word, what would that word be and why?
Um, yes, of course. Everybody's saying it's really a trend to say I'm passionized. I have a lot of passion. But I think I want to add here two really strong words. It's about dedication and result oriented. Because yes, of course, I have a strong feeling, commitment for VP Bank, for what we're doing here, for my job, for my team. I have a really great team. It's really great to work here, but I think it is really necessary that you have a dedication, a commitment, a strong support or loyalty to something to achieve things. We just had an offsite workshop, was really great, and I think it's all about explore, care, and achieve. And if you don't have a dedication, then yeah, this not will lead to really success. And of course, on top, it should be, I think, result oriented, meaning, you know, my focus is really an outcome rather than on progress or on processing something. Progress, of course, but I love to change things. But each change should be have being a beginning and an end. You know, it should add on value, or it should be produce more efficiency. Um, but always this focus of outcome. That's really me.
Thanks for sharing. I love the mix of the different parts. So, one more thing I want to dive into is a little bit of, the definition of success. I'm always curious about what are people's personal perspectives on that. So, what is your personal definition of success?
Um, yeah, the definition. I think, as you always, I think I view success as a journey. It is not a one-time thing. At least it should be a win-win situation. Um, it can be people-oriented or self-oriented. Um, but I consider it's the summary of achievements recognized or unnoticed, not unnoticed, or even yeah something like that. Often it is a success story. Success is a story itself. I mean, with digital assets, a part of our strategy here, I think we are pioneering. And for banks, pioneering is not the easiest thing. We're talking financial industry. We have a lot of variation in the past, but what's really innovative? And and I think being the first one um, just it does not grant to have success. Being the first one could lead to something, but it's obviously and it's very important to have clear KPIs. What is defined or what defines success? because then you can deal with it. Because of course, we did the first steps, really first steps in digital assets, really great. We love the response of the market. We love how we can emotionalize um, our clients with this approach. And yes, we're working hard on it to make it even better, because there's also a lot of potential behind it, and that needs, of course, all this passion and so on and so forth. But I think success has to define, meaning you have to have some KPIs or some figures where you say, okay, then this should be successful at all. And very important is, I think, when it comes to success, reflect. Yeah, never forget to reflect, because having success, meaning it's not an all-time thing. Not your whole life is about success, but you can learn of it. Experience, take out the experience, the most critical things, the do's, the don'ts, what you did wrong, what is responsible for this success. And often you will find out it's not you. Definitely not. It is some decision taken, and of course involved a lot of people, resources. I don't know what else, the environment, what makes it possible.
Thanks for sharing. I think it's what I took out, or like the key parts that I sort of like took out, is like the KPIs, really to actually know when you're successful. Like, I think that sometimes it's really difficult for a lot of people and companies to define the right ones, right? Because I think it's not just about having KPIs, but it's about having the right ones. And then, like, because that's going to give you an idea of when you actually achieve something and when not, when you're actually successful or not. And the other thing is the reflection. I love that you brought that into it, because I think it's really important to reflect and look at these things on the one side, if it's still current, right? If things are still accurate, and you want things still to be measured like this. And on the other one, of course, reflecting on where are we in, have we actually achieved what we wanted to achieve. um, Something else I want to dive into is, before we dive into the industry and where things are heading from here, is the topic of decisions. I'm always curious about that. So, what is one of the most difficult decisions that you ever had to make?
Okay, let's think about it. I mean, let me answer the question in the following, like this. I just think it's very often in life that you value a decision as a difficult after having it done. Um, I give you an example. Sounds, and I always laugh with my friends to get about this. About 15 years, more than 15 years ago, my friends told me, Marcy, you shouldn't start in a bank. You're not a banker. Um, but I did. And now I'm working for 15 years, more than 15 years in VP Bank. Would you take a decision about your next 15 years? That looks really difficult. Um, but at all, it was not. And the process and all the stuff and what experience I here learned, all the great members, all these things I could do here and can still do here, and all the passion I have. I think, yeah, that's a thing. So to summarize again, I think to value a decision as difficult is something what often happens after the decision and not before. But I think important is, when it comes to decision, how to handle it is important, before you take it. And of course, after, as said before, to reflect. In my, what I personally often do is I really love to structure problems. Yeah. Looking at different perspectives and try to get them solved. And often it's not only one big decision. Often you're too late if you have to take one decision, and then there was in the past going something definitely wrong. So that gives you the opportunity to think strategic and tactical. What is important to do now, prioritize, focus on that, what you know, and have a clear view what you would do in the next 5-10 years. I think that should be the way how it works, and that makes taking of decision, I think, a little bit easier.
Yeah, I love what you shared there about, big decisions, small decisions, and also looking back and thinking, okay, that was really like maybe, I mean, a huge career changing decision in a sense. I mean, 15 years of your career somewhere, right, is a big, big, big part. So you kind of want to make sure you make the right decision, right? But of course, at that moment, when you make that decision, you simply have no idea what's going to happen, right? You can only say, looking back and saying, okay, that was the right decision, that was not the right decision, and judging it like that. But in the moment when you make it, you can judge it based on gut feeling, maybe, or maybe on some, research or whatever. But that's I think a really interesting one. And the other one, like making big and small decisions, um, you know, what you mentioned, if you have to make a really big decision, maybe something went wrong. I don't know if you said it that way, but I think it feels very limiting. Thinking about making a huge decision, it feels so limiting, and there's only one right outcome, right? And the other one is wrong, and you have a 50-50 chance, and it's a lot of pressure. It's very different from making a lot of small decisions and just like working towards something versus like this is the cliff and you either jump or you don't.
Definitely. But
Yeah.
yes, also if you do like this, I'll give you another example. When we started with Digital Asset was some years ago, and we struggled with cryptos and all the kind of stuff. But we knew that we have a strategic opportunity here with the blockchain law in Liechtenstein, and this gives us a really unfair advantage, and we have to use it. And yes, of course, it was a progress, and we did, and went to the left, to the right side, and find out how we can do with it. Taste it from one step to the other. And I think that's also really me. Not try to go a big step, just do the small steps. Find the right way. Feel it. It's all about feeling what you have. And finally, with that case, we now implemented 1 year ago, and we have now a bright family of different collectibles tokenized and some cool use cases. It was all about our clients, you know, listen to the clients, the needs. We made a survey, and the outcome of the service was the critical thing with the missing part to being convinced to invest in that. It was not a huge investment about what the bank at all is concerned, but think, yes, of course, it is a new thing. It's about reputation. It's about legal things. It's about all the kind of stuff. We are a traditional bank, and I think it is great now. I have the opportunity to combine this tradition and innovation and to bring it together in a way that we all can deal with it. And I think that's also different to what happens in the market at the moment. We have seen a lot of different cases with a lot of cool guys, really nerds, having a great intelligent thing, but there is missing the use case. There is missing the really thing, the need. They focus not on the need, they focus on technology or something like that. And I think that's another thing.
Mhm.
When it comes about decisions, have you done all the kind of things what you really need to take the decision? I think it's unfair sometimes if you just try to do it, because it's always has inflected the resources, and so on and so forth. So yes, I think that's the way how you
Mhm.
should do decisions.
Thanks for sharing. I mean, you jumped already into something that I want to follow up on, which is you talked about the customers and you talked about needs. So I just want to stay on that track for a little while longer. Um, Talk to me a little bit more about, in your perspective, what is what is great customer or user experience? What is it in your perspective?
I mean, it's a very important topic because everybody is talking about it, but the essence of it is really, really crucial thing. For me, it's really important to say it is not a one-time thing. Don't think you got the client because you did it one time. This is the theory. This is every practice yourself. Everybody says it. To me, a great customer experience is mostly defined by exceeding all the customer expectations of a service, and or an encounter. probably in the future with an assistance of AI would be great. If somebody tells you some needs before the client or yourself just every needs it. But in my opinion, this can only be achieved, and that is very important, I think, if the customer itself stays directly in the middle. You take care of the customer, of the client's needs, and not being stay step by step going some words and just dealing with him. That's a different thing. And I think it's not easy, of course, to handle this thing when we're talking about high-end private banking and intermediary and banking services at all. That's all has to do with emotions. It depends on the people behind, of course. Of course, you need systems and scholars, all of that. But at the end, it is really important that you are stay close to the client, that you know the client, that you just fulfill his and just exceed the kind of expectations of the client. But at all, yes, not easy thing. But I think that's the reason why we are here, and just adding new services, making it more convenient for the client. There are different needs coming up, different perspectives, and that's our daily business.
Let's dive a little bit more into that. I'm curious, like, so the customer at the center. So how do you put the customer at the center? How do you truly understand the needs? And then how do you exceed expectations? How does that
I
how does
mean,
that work?
yeah, it's always, I think, typically the same. You need an approach. You need here experienced staff and, of course, information and the ability to do it, meaning having the resources, the instruments, and so deal with it. I think this mix is really key. Starting at a point where you say, okay, let's research what are the needs of our clients to find out. It's very crucial. A lot of companies in this world just think they can produce new needs. It's a very difficult thing, I think. Um, but dealing with the existing need of clients just is really, I think that's a thing. And we see it in the market often that does not happen. So think about it. What are the real needs? And just cluster them. Try to find out where is it. Bring them to a timeline. You know, Not every client in each age has the same needs. All that kind of stuff. Just do it. It's basics we are talking here. But when I am in my life out there in the reality, I often don't see that. It's the same thing you get for the same person or for any person in this world, and I think that's not a great solution. So cluster it, find ways how to put it together for people. It's often a mix. It's not only one statement, not only touching point. It's more than that. And try to find the same groups, connect them, find a way how you can deal with them. So what all I want to say is some points, meaning and really crucially structures into a path, into a process where you make sure that you know your client, but not only one time. Do it again and again. It should be a sustainable process, how to get deeper and deeper and deeper. And I think that's very crucial. To do your thing, do your work, by just using engines as well on top. Perfects, that could be the future. I love to deal with these thoughts, of course, to invest here some really crucial time to find out how this new system, how AI can help us to solve this. But I think it's all about the knowledge, and then on top you need the feeling. You need these passionate guys who really deals with the clients in a way how he want to be treated, how he want to be served. And that's important. So it's always a mix of the first thing, do your homework before, and then use the right person to get to the client and have a great experience with him.
Thanks for sharing. That was a lot of really interesting insights, and I'm just curious. Like, if if a lot of companies or most companies out there would do the right things, we would all have amazing customer experience in banking, in telecoms, in insurance, in wherever, right? More often than not, I feel it's not that state of the art, incredible, over the top, exceeding all of my expectations, which is maybe impossible. But I'm just curious, like, What makes it challenging for organizations to create really amazing customer and user experience? What's your perspective on that?
I mean, I think it's easy to say it's the regulator, it's the law, it's about standardization, scalability, but it's definitely not this. I heard in your previous talk sometimes, we need the regulator, we don't need the regulator. Yes, of course. In banking, we are faced with about, I heard just a number, it was 40,000 pages of European banking law. Yes, okay. But let's deal it. That makes it great, okay? That helps us, that gives us a framework. Deal with this framework and use it. And there's still some way how we can do then and enjoy customer experience. And um, I think for organization, it is really key to just use every single touching point and try to exceed it. The perspective of the meaning and the understanding of the client. And yes, of course, it has to do with great employees, enthusiastic employees who inspire customers uh, with their passion for the brand, for the for the product at all. I think that's important. So, what is it the really challenging situation for organizations? I think, of course, we are just in a steady change. We have to deal with this really framework we get with. There is coming a lot of technical changes, but it all just still, I think, useful or successful are these companies who never forget where is the client, who is the client, and how can I deal with that. I think that's the thing. And let me tell you, this is called also with our digital asset thing. Just in the beginning, we had an idea. We had an idea, we had a technology, within the bank, we are faced with some needs. And for us, it was the most critical point to bring this together. Meaning, on the one side, you have here a technology, and on the other side, you have a need. And for us to be really exact, it was not a thing that we want to go to the client and say, hey, it's not about crypto, but we're using blockchain. Because if you're doing like that, that is not a trust binding thing. You don't gain value out of this if you have always to really react. We want to act, so we go and to the client and say now and say, hey, dear client, you have this need, meaning, for example, in inheritance planning, for private clients, if you're dealing with the next generations, what do you do with your fine art? What do you do with your instruments? What do you do with all the kind of stuff? How does this work? And our previous, all of our experience knows out of a lot of other families and so on and so forth, that there are coming up always the same problems. They are always coming from the cost side, they're coming from a lot of emotions, they're coming about the liquidity side. So, and that was the way how we want to go to the client and say, that is the need you want, and that is the solution we have. But not talking about blockchain, not talking about crypto, not talking about the other things. And I think that's very key, and it's not easy, as you hear every time in the news and somewhere what's going on in the crypto, what's going on in the banking sector. So put this beside. What is important is exactly the need of the client. Focus on it, centralize it, and try to find a solution for that. And there, I think, then you have space. And if you on top, sorry to say this again, but it on top you achieve that you emotionalize with a financial product, I think then we are in a good way. Using, for example, different visualization methods as VR, as metaverse, and we were the first one in a side event of the Art Basel where we presented it to gallerists of fine art in a metaverse to discuss it. We got again a lot of experience to discuss with experts of that. And I think then you're on the right way. Then you're not talking about a system, a technology, or some, I don't know, figures. Then you're talking exactly what you should do and talk about the needs and the wants of the client, talk about his fear and about his all about emotion. I think then it's going a good way.
Thanks for sharing that. I love that part a lot. Not looking at, in the first place, at the underlying technology, for example, because maybe that's sexy, right? To talk about. It's really cool and sexy to talk about that, but also brings a lot of challenges, especially if there's a lot of stuff in the market, in the news, in the whatever, that maybe isn't that great now. Maybe 2022 wasn't the sexiest for this industry, right? Maybe 2023, who knows? But if you focus on the needs and the wants and the solutions and the use cases, that's a very different thing, because then suddenly you talk about tokenization, right? And now you're not talking about blockchain, you're not talking about crypto, you talk about tokenization, you talk about physical assets, you talk about art, you talk about inheritance, you talk about, you know, um, an easier way of doing things. You talk about capturing value, you talk about transferring value in a very different way. And at the end of the day, you end up at a very different place.
Yes, just let me add this thing. You know what our new thing now? We just tokenized music instruments. First one was piano, and that's coming more. And you, as a client, can participate. You cannot participate in a donation only. You can just secure that young talents on a high-end level can play these instruments. And if you've seen, have ever seen such really young players, how hard they exercise, how hard they train, how hard they in that, it's great to see. And you help them on top of that. And that's just the beginning. On top of that, you gain from the performance of this investment. And that's not all. You have membership, you get free access to concerts, you get access to the artists, you can stream on a platform, and and that's a new excitement, that's emotion, what we want to combine here. Yeah, it's all about tradition with emotion, but on the top there's emotionalizing. Bring it to the people, bring it to the client, because this is his need. I think that is the starting point, as well as with gallerists. We all know in the secondary market of art, it's very hard to do a transaction. With our way, no more. That helps you. What we here fulfill is not the top of the notch. What we've just fulfill the basics to make it happen. That's there our crucial thing. I think, yeah, that's it. Very important thing.
I love that. Thanks for sharing this. So, one more thing I want to talk about, and here I really want to hear your perspective, obviously, because you're the CPO. So I'm super interested in your perspective of talking about digital products, digital services. What makes or breaks them?
Again, breaks, easy to say. Of course, you can talk about regulation and so on and so forth, but that's not true. Thinking about that, then you didn't do your homework. Everybody knows what's coming in the European law sector. Everybody knows what's coming next. Even in the crypto sector, we are that's really cool in our approach. We are not infected of all this because we don't use crypto assets in our setup. But when it comes about what makes it, yeah, then I think it's always the three things. You need, of course, a good idea. This idea should have some use cases, needs. We talked about it. Then you need a really good mix of people with passion. Passion meaning with the dedication and the result oriented. And of course, endurance, because making it happen in a bank, it easier. It is much easier than I thought, but it's only because of that we had here an embedded solution where a lot of guys all over the world just see the thing, learned, explored, and take care of all the thing. And in the end, we had a great achievement in the first step, the first coming out now, this family, what we can tokenize, first use case, it's really great. But again, what is it important? Of course, you need some resources, meaning cash, some investments, and so on. But it's all based of a structured logic idea, and of course, a good mix of people. And this makes a really good feeling. And this feeling you can use to build up then all the services and all the business you want to do. But I often see in the business, in the market, in the industry, that we are always still dealing with ideas without just fulfilling all of these 3, 4 different key aspects, and that's the reason why sometimes it's not working. It's a trial and error, and this trial and error is sometimes a good solution, but overall, if you have a cool strategy where you want to achieve things in a short time period, it's a good time to market. Then just I think do your homework, do it like this, be structured, and find out what is a good feeling to just be really, really successful in the market.
Thanks for sharing. Thanks for diving into that. I want to go one level deeper when it comes. You already started talking about it, like going to market. I'm curious, like how do you go about finding product market fit for new ideas, new products, or maybe also products where you feel like, maybe there's something that needs to change about them. They're not working so well. Maybe it's not, we didn't hit it yet. How do you go about finding that product market fit?
You know, at all, a product market fit is beginning. It is sold product. You can talk long about before and about big figures, wonderful business cases. All the thing you solve is the emotion you want to produce. It is not being if it is not being sold. Um, I think for an economic-based company, uh, of course, you can have some add-on services, something like that, but at all, it has to be solved. There is no excuse for that. So it has to fit to the need of the client. And of course, when it's really perfect fit, then the passion of the producer can be transferred to the consumer. I think that's an important thing. If you just walk here on a level of 180, but the client is not infected of that, that makes no sense at all. You know, and I think on top of that, it's very important, and then it's about the life channel. It's a life situation, life cycle situation of a product. There must be opportunity to scale, opportunities to mix it, uh, to enhance it. What else you need? Because I think we have these basic products, even in a bank, we have a basic product that just fulfill the basic needs. But the crucial thing is to find a good mix. And the good mix is not the basic thing. When we talk to clients, we have to add some different modular system. What else to find out and to get a good, orchestra of all kind of services where we can give to the client to have this perfect fit. So it's often not only to look at a single product and say, okay, this single product itself is not working good. Of course, you have to just see it in a bigger stage, in a whole offering in the industry. What does it need? What is the purpose, and what is I think on top of it, the top line of it, of course. But in this, so it is not a single answer I can give you to that. What we are looking here forward is an offering where we can have a good mix, a bright orchestra of services, what's really served to the clients. And I think what's really important on top of that, just don't think you can do all on your own. That's the great thing in our strategy as well. We have this open wells pioneer, you know, meaning open well service means that we are just platform based. I think we all know no one is having all the talents. We have some talents, you have some talent, everybody has some talents. So same as products. Use them, make them usable, bring it into your ecosystem, just challenge it and bring it to your clients. And so this kind of mix make it possible that you have a really good product and a market fit, because a product is not one single service in the end. A product is an offering you offer to the client what fulfills the needs.
Thanks for sharing. Now I want to, it's not the last question I have, but one of them. Talking a little bit more about the industry. I'm curious about what's your perspective on where we are and where we are heading when it comes to digital banking and digital assets?
Yes, of course. I mean, I have idea because, but I really want to say what we have seen now in the last weeks when it comes about these reports. That's not pretty amazing. What is about banking industry? I want to give you two examples. I think all of us know this EY barometer of bank managers, probably you know. And just a new one I read in this weekend found out that innovation of new business models is ranked at place 16. I think that's not a good thing. That's not good for the banking industry, and it's definitely not good for digital assets as well. Um, and of course, on the other side, I've read the Roland Berger Tokenization 25 report. Really can give you here. It's a good thing. Just go into it. And I think there is one crucial and really amazing a sentence in the end would summarize all. It's not about being in 2030 try to go to the internet again, try to connect with the global net. No, it's about being there, all the time. You get the service out of it you need. It's not longer do you have to look for it, you have to search for it. It's the other way around. You are connected. You just decide when you're not connected. I think that's a crucial thing. And when it's about digital assets, I think what's really great is that we get now really, I think when it's about Europe, a really good regulatory basis. We have it already here in Liechtenstein. It's an easy thing to go to the step of Europe that gives us all the passporting, meaning the opportunity to do it in other countries as well, really fast. That means we have a clear framework. And that's the beginning to just enhance all resources to produce really good services on that. Because if you have a clear understanding, and it's not only, and I love to be a startup, but it's not only about just try to put in some energy there and this, but you don't know what's coming out. So you have a really clear background, you have a clear understanding, and you have the transparency of what's good going on for the next 5 years. So in all of that, I think what we see as well in the market are more and more contributors came into the market and see for digital assets like we are doing it with tokenizer, with collectibles, there we get some competitors in the market. So that's great, because getting better means competitors just do the same and we can just be enhance and bring new inputs in it, because we cannot only change the world. That's really great that we have here found the basement, if different parties come in and just wanted to do the same. So to summarize it like that, I see there is a future in the next 5 years for digital assets. There will be solutions, definitely solutions for partly new asset classes. What would we achieve? Is there still the market for the cryptos? I think nobody knows. That's an oracle thing. What's going on there? At the moment, I really see there is coming a little bit back, more and more bank investing in that. So there must be a core offering on top of that. And of course, and that's really important, hopefully there's coming more invention power when it's upside or downside on B side, even to the financial industry. Because what I want to love, and I want to love to do, and that's the great thing, combine these two worlds together, and the technology of blockchain and digital assets can help it make life easier with it. But often it's not the need what begins from the banking side or financial industry side. They're coming from the other market into it, and we can together make it better. And yes, of course, it's all to do with emotions. And that we want to do here. And when it comes about VP Bank, I think we are in the forefront and we are pioneering in that sector. And I think for me, just give a clear outline is what I want to do is just with the great team and the management, just going step by step forward. We have now a great family of tokenized assets. We have some good use cases on top. Perhaps there are some other things coming in. We are talking about visualization methods, meaning VR, meaning metaverse, all that kind of stuff. We are dealing with that step by step, finding always use case, not only showing and presenting. And additionally, I think using AI or augmented reality as another thing, what could be just enhance the all the meaning, the understanding, and in the end, the emotion of our clients.
Thanks for sharing. I love how much you went into the topic of emotion in this interview and how crucial it is in so many aspects. Um, I absolutely love that. Thank you for sharing this. So the last question I have to you is a little bit more out there. Um, let's imagine you're 80 years old now and looking back at your life, and you see how the world has changed over the course of those many years. Looking back from that moment, what is something that you would love to see changed in the world?
Okay, then I really have to state I love this thing with digital assets, with all these VR things, and so I want to come back to this report of Roland Berger, and I don't think it will need until I'm the age of 80, because that's a huge period, hopefully. So I think, to get into this point, I don't know what happens then. It's so tremendous cool what's going up here now and how fast everything is changing, but all not only in a bad thing. Just think about changes are really often really cool if you look back. So I think, being no longer go online, uh, because I am online all the time. It's an integral part of my life. Technology and digital service are embedded in my life. So I don't just begin in the fridge in the morning or what I want to drink. All of this stuff, this kind of services I want to have, or which to came from point A to point B. What is the best solution for that? I think there are tremendous lot of things and use cases behind where it is really cool to get some assistance, to get help, to get rid of this needs because I don't need it. But on the other
Hmm.
side, I really want to make a statement. It's really crucial, and that's why the regulator is really good that he is have focus on it. I want to decide it. It's about me, you know, meaning we get closer and closer to the client. We get closer and closer to you, your personal needs, what you are doing, what's in your heart, what's about your emotion. And we have to respect this. We have to take care of this. And that's, I think, very important. So at all, I love this progress. I love this new coming up. I want to be in a world where I no longer have to go online because I am online, but I have to decide, and I want to decide what's going on with me in my surrounding, in my environment.
Thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing those two parts as well to it. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Marcel, for being here and spending time with us and sharing your insights and perspectives. And yes, I wish you a wonderful day and thank you for being with us.
Thanks. Wish you all together a wonderful day, and see you in the future.